Hey FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creative Leigh with FLOSSTUBE number 100 on Sunday the 14th of November. Welcome to this very humid, hence the slight glow, Sunday nearly afternoon here in Upper Hutt in Wellington region of New Zealand. Yeah, 100 videos. I've done a couple more than 100, but they were bonus videos, so 100 FLOSSTUBEs is really what I mean. So yeah, it's been 2 years last week since I started this YouTube malarkey as FLOSSTUBE, and it's been fun, and I've enjoyed it, and I'm glad some of you have stuck around for a while, and some of you, you know who you are, Danny, have binged all my videos, which is, that's a feat. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to carrying on next year, really. I have a little bit of stitching to show today, a tiny bit of haul. I haven't bought any new charts. It's been just trying to ease back on the spending at the moment. Trying to find a bit more of a balance, let's say, but I'm sure I'll blow it. As soon as shipping opens up with USPS, I'm sure there'll be a haul or two ordered. Yeah, who knows? But at the moment, you know, with having a couple, 2 or 3 parcels sort of sitting on hold in the US, waiting for USPS to start shipping to New Zealand again, which we hope will happen soon. We're getting close to, I think, our border being opened up under, you know, certain controls, but I don't know. I hope so. Anyway, so what's new in? The only thing new in is my Floss Club from Tom and Lily in France. So I've got the October threads have come in, and possibly the card gives it a little bit away, but their theme this month is gold. And because I'm one of the last in the world to get the delivery, I already knew what was coming, because I can't expect Melanie to hold off updating with her marketing just for me to get everything. But it is a particularly lovely bunch of neutrals, which I've kind of been wanting to get. I don't have enough browns and golds and things, because, you know, when you're wanting to sub stuff out. So that is the lusciousness for this month, and I do really, really love it. We do get the normal little newsletter from her. All about October and pretty sunflowers, wheat harvest and golden sunrises. Of course, you know, wrong hemisphere for us, but that's all right. I do enjoy the colours, and just a little chart that she makes. And the colours are, I think they're all, she didn't mention a special dye this month, so I'm guessing they are all from her range. So if you do like them, you can order them. She has an Etsy store and a website. I think she has an Etsy store, definitely a website anyway. So from we've got Cendre, which is a kind of purpley brown, a mauvey brown. Hematite, Sirocco, or just a non-named one, but this one has some pretty cool variegation from this light wheat colour through to mid-brown. Desert, colza, Havan, again subtle variegation from a caramel through to another greeny brown. cognac, moutarde, so mustard, and a caramel. Beautiful, beautiful. I don't know, I need to find something to stitch with these. And they smell delicious, so if you're not sure, worth it for the smell. They kind of have a lemoniness to them, but anyway, so that is what came in. Also, Spotlight had a sale on, has a sale on for GMC down to $40% off anyway, so $1.31 or something. So I went through my 2 full coverages that I'm wanting to start next year, the Women in Profile from Cross Stitch Collectibles, and the Mystic Moments one that Danny gifted to me. And I just went through and kind of picked any of the flosses where I would need either close to a full skein or multiple skeins, and I put through an order. So I've still got some on back order, but and also I managed to find a few flosses that were already in my overflow. Some from my friend Tracy, some from Gail, and some that I just had bought. So yeah, I've got a couple, started kitting up Mystic Moments. I just started with the colours that are in the border, because when I started, I'll start down bottom left, and there are big chunks of colour, so I'll just start working my way through that. So no point buying the colours I need for her skin, because it's a very long way away. So I just bought colours that are needed for the bottom of the design, and again with the Women in Profile, I bought the skeins where I needed at least close to a full skein or multiple skeins. So, but again, I'll start her down here. So it looks like I'm not going to need that bright orange for quite a while. But that's okay, it was on sale, so you know, that's just nice to save 40%. So just starting to kit up those slowly. That's all that's new in. Yeah, I've stayed away. I've been too busy actually at work to look for charts and things. My dad's doing okay. He's a bit down. It's hard at the moment because my stepmother with her Alzheimer's is I guess she's getting near end stage, but she's just going through a horrible period. Yeah, her cognitive decline is quite significant, and she's very violent and aggressive, and kind of pretty much needs one-on-one, which they can't give her where she is. So she has been now put on the list, kind of near the top of the list, to go into psychiatric ward in Tauranga, which and I guess she's going to be heavily sedated. It's terribly sad, but Dad said, yeah, it's really distressing, and yeah, she's not safe now, and it's not safe for her where she is. So hopefully a bed comes up, or a space comes up pretty soon, so they can get that sorted before Christmas. That will give Dad a bit. I mean, yeah, it's just a shit situation, but it is what it is. And at this stage, he's going to come down to me for Christmas for a week or so. So we'll see how that goes. I'm kind of glad not to be driving back up there, because, you know, it's just such a long drive. He'll come down on the bus probably. Anyway, that's pretty much that. So I'll show you what I've stitched this week, and at the end of the video I'm going to answer a couple more questions, or at least one question that was still on the question list from a few months ago. Just focusing on stitching friends and any stitching YouTube that I watch, because I had been asked that and I haven't got around to doing it, so I might try and address that at the end of the video. But what did I stitch this week? In no particular order. I did have a bit of a gathering. Went and did a little bit of stitching with a few friends yesterday for a couple of hours. It's what's Anne calling it? Stitch and knit. So we had one knitter and 4 stitches, so it was quite nice. We did a potluck lunch and just had spent time in each other's company. And as always, when I'm stitching out of the house, I tend to take something quite simple that I don't need good lighting and don't need to concentrate too much. So I took along my Peppermint Purple Blackwork SAL. I only had a couple of boxes to catch up because I'd caught up when I was in Dunedin, but I started working on the second border because I've decided to do the second border. So I got these 2 in, so week 44 and 45, and then I started on the second border. So I'm just working my way around, and I'll be leaving a gap down here for the date like I did in last year's. So this is everything left of the year. We've there's a pictorial representation of how much year we don't have left. Freaky, like 6 weeks or something. I probably could count the boxes, but I'm not going to. Anyway, so we worked on that yesterday, and we, as I said, enjoyed each other's company. And poor Anne, one of her cats, is sort of probably end of life as well, but he was very smoochy, and he got lots of pats and scratches under the chin, and he went from person to person and was purring probably for about 3 hours, and it was nice to see him kind of happy. I'm just stitching this on 18 count antique white Aida. So yeah, I intend to get this finished right on the end of the year because that's how I roll, and I do think they look really beautiful. That's that. Last Sunday after my video, I got the video up nice and early, and then in the afternoon after lunch I went and spent a little bit of time with my friend Karen at her house. It was my first time visiting her house, and I took and because we're stitching Nora Corbett's together at the moment, I took along my Bella Bee, which I'm stitching just on 32 count white linen with the cord for. I am going to make this into a little pillow because it's not, I just don't need to frame all these things. And while I was at her place, I got all of the hair and the headband cross stitching done, and then I got the yellow in. I've got a little bit here for the bee. I got all the cream in for the wings of the moths and the bee, and all I've got left is a whole lot of pink crosses in here. Of course, her lips and have a bit of pink, I think, and then the rest of it's beads and back stitching. So I don't actually have that much to do, but I am at the moment only stitching this when I stitch it with Karen, either in person or on Messenger chat. So that is, yes, that was last Sunday. The Blackwork pattern was yesterday. So what have I done the rest of the week? Well, I have had a busy week, but I did have a couple of days stitching at home. And I picked up, I think I mentioned last week, I'm quite my focus for the next little while until I finish it is going to be Life After Death by Long Dog Samplers, which I'm stitching on 36 count antique white linen from Zygarde. Silks for You, Kreinik and DMC. If you want to know the numbers, you can have a look on the screen. And this I started 1st of August, and I am going to finish it by the end of the year. And I stitched and stitched, and I got a lot done. So I've got all of this filled in up here, and so I'm well over halfway now, and then I've stitched up to the top, so this little bird's at the top, and then I've got all of this done. So the whale, it's a big whale, the whale's in here. So that is where she's at, and I am quite enamored with this. So that's what I worked on this week. There's the wording, got that little dude done on the end, and then all the lusciousness in here. A couple little back stitched fish down there. So yeah, very happy with it. So I got quite a lot done on this. And yeah, as I said, well over halfway, because halfway is about here. And this side is mostly like this. Over this side you've got a whole lot of bands. It's quite awkward to hold that up. Quite a few bands, which, you know, once you get the routine in your head, tend to go quite quickly. All these bands over here. Looking forward to doing this bit. There's that whale. Some nice little back stitching in here. So yeah, I am quite pleased with it. And that's my stitching. So yeah, busy doing that. The weather's kind of crap at the moment, but I'm going to do a few other little things. Oh, you might have remembered, those of you who watched my craft room video, I talked about how I wanted to clear out about at least 3 shelves off of my Billy shelves by the end of the year so that I could get some things off the floor onto the shelves, and I started. So I pulled out the one shelf of all my old scrapbooking magazines that I had kept, and I got up super early yesterday. I went to bed quite early on Friday and I woke up about 6 o'clock on Saturday, so I got up and I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab a cup of tea and I'm going to start going through those magazines. Now I had previously culled these a few years ago, maybe 4.5 years ago, before when I put all my stuff into storage and while I went to live with friends while my house was being built, and I culled stuff then. So I went through my magazines then, and I had actually put little post-its in quite a few pages for pages that I thought I might come back to. So I started with the it was probably about 20 magazines that I hadn't done that on, but there was a whole lot of, it was a New Zealand publication for a while, so I was a bit like, oh, I don't want to get rid of that. Started going through them and I'm like, oh, I remember this was a really grungy style. Anyway, I pretty much, after 3 magazines, realised I didn't really need any of them. So all of them just got put aside, and then I started on the magazines that I had earmarked, and I quickly decided not to look through anything except what I had bookmarked, and of the bookmarks, probably half of them no longer interested me, or I couldn't work out why I had bookmarked them. The others that I still quite liked, I just took photos of them, and basically now I've got about 40 scrapbooking magazines that can go and be donated. I'm just not sure if we can donate at the moment, so I need to check at level 2 if we're allowed to donate things. I've got a box of other stuff. So I've got a few boxes of stuff to take to donations, and I feel really good about it. So next up on the list, we'll be going through a shelf of things that I've saved, other craft projects that are not scrapbooking. To do with, oh, I don't know, there's some recycled jewellery, some art projects for making home decor and stuff, which I'm pretty sure I don't want to have anymore, but I just need to go through those folders, and hopefully I've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think there are 6. I've got 6 folders, I can see them line of sight to my craft room. I've got 6 folders that I want to get down to maximum 2. I've got 2 white folders, which I'm quite happy to keep, and I've got 4 really brightly coloured ones, which I'll donate. So that's my plan. Is my goal is to get rid of 66% of what's there and cull it down to a couple of folders. If I can do more, excellent. So yeah, progress has started, because I did want to aim to get those 3 shelves empty by the end of the year, because it's just stuff I need to go through. It's not current project stuff. And then next year, as I work through my 50 at 50 projects, I will hopefully work on getting paper into albums and then clearing off a couple of my cubes. Anyway, it's started. I'm very pleased. Okay, that's pretty much everything that I've been up to. Pretty lame. And what's been going on, and just going to answer a couple of questions about Stitching Friends and YouTube channels that I watch. So if you're not interested, see you next week. But yeah, Heather Miller asked a couple of questions relating to who my Stitching Friends and groups and FLOSSTUBE channels are and stuff. So Stitching Friends is kind of an interesting one because until last year I didn't really have any Stitching Friends. I'd always been, stitching for me was, and I guess still mostly is, quite a solitary pursuit. It's my calm. I like either quiet, or I like to listen to podcasts or watch TV. It's just my chillaxing time. But having found FLOSSTUBE and then started poking around on Facebook, because, you know, we all hate Facebook, but it's a necessary evil if you want to be parts of groups and things. Meet people, right? So and having gone to the Wellington and then Christchurch retreat, you know, I've met people now, which is really lovely. So I guess I've got my friend Karen from work. We sort of stitch, as I've said, she kind of got back into stitching, having seen what I was up to. I would share what I was doing at work, and she's like, oh, I've got a whole lot of stuff, which a lot of things that she gave me out of her, you know, a box in storage, ended up on the giveaway table or the freebie table at the Wellington retreat, or the Christchurch retreat. Might have been the Christchurch retreat actually. And she then kind of, I encouraged her, I guess, or supported her to pick up a couple of her old whips, and I think she's finished them all now. So now she's working on new things, and like anything, embracing being a stitcher again and enjoying what's available on Etsy and Nora Corbett, and dabbling in beading and stuff that she may not have done much of before. So it's been quite fun, and she's already like converting colours and doing all sorts of exciting things. And then so that's someone I, you know, met through work, and then through the interwebs, through YouTube / Facebook and retreats. The people that I guess collude with quite regularly through various messenger groups and often in person. We've got Zeb up in Auckland, and Zeb moderates the New Zealand cross-stitch group, which I'm a member of, and then in the Wellington region here, Judith, Sam, Julia and Anne, and then having met properly when I was in Dunedin, Narissa and June organised the the Christchurch Stitchy weekend, and then Christine down in Dunedin, who I billeted for a night when she came up all the way up on her own to the Wellington retreat in 2020. So they are probably the people that I stitch with the most, either in person or over messenger groups and stuff. As I've mentioned previously, I don't love huge groups of people. There are a couple of regular online stitchy things through Messenger or Zoom or have you, but once I get too many people, I'm just not interested. And when it's a group of friends who know each other, the silence is comfortable. You don't have to necessarily fill in every second, and we can have a few jokes and just and we're interested in each other's lives and what's been going on. The more people you get, and the more sort of disparate those people might be, I find that it's too much for me, and I'd rather just watch something on YouTube. But there are other people that I do, you know, other people, especially in the Wellington. There's a Wellington Cross Stitch Facebook group, a bit of a spin-off of the New Zealand one that Nara moderates, and certainly other Wellington-based people that I have best intentions of stitching with or getting together, but it's hard. Like, it's some weekends I just, you know, we're all busy people. And Anne has organised a stitchy gathering in Wellington. It's the 5th Saturday, if there's a 5th Saturday in the month. I think but that's probably the best way to catch up with more people, because otherwise it's just like it's hard to coordinate really. So YouTube. So how I stumbled upon YouTube. No, I've known YouTube for a long time. I stumbled upon FLOSSTUBE back in early 2019, New Year 2019. I was not long in my new house. I'd had my dad and my stepmother up for the holidays. My dad had an accident and ended up in hospital and broken ribs, and I had to look after my stepmother who has Alzheimer's, and it was really hard, and I was exhausted, I think, from the moving and the stress of building a house and, you know, all that stuff. And I ended up catching a bloody cold after Christmas. So I pretty much put Dad and Pam on the airplane, and then came home, went to bed, and I found, and YouTube just offered me a video, and it was, I can't remember what her channel was called, but she's now Fancy Lady Cross Stitch Tina in the UK, and it was stitching in stitches, or something in stitches. I can't remember. She's changed her channel name a couple of times, and I haven't seen a video from her for ages. She does do a lot of fancy ladies, hence the name. And I just started watching her, and I was like, oh my god, people do YouTube videos about FLOSSTUBE, about cross stitching. And then I went and I watched her whole back catalogue, and then realised, oh, she was actually taking a break. So I was like, oh, damn it. But during the video, she mentioned Jan Hicks. So then I went over to Jan Hicks, and I started watching Jan Hicks, and then Jan Hicks mentioned some others, and then then YouTube just starts offering you all the things. So suddenly you're like, oh my god, there's a whole thing. So yeah, a bit late to the cross-stitchy YouTube, the FLOSSTUBE world. And then from there, over the years, I've, you know, watched some people, and then I've stopped watching them again. I do like to binge someone. If I find someone and they haven't been, and I like their style, I like what they stitch, or their way of presenting, I might go back and watch, you know, back catalogue kind of thing. And then after a while, I change. You know, you're in different moods and different feelings, and sometimes I feel like watching a particular person, other times I don't. So I thought I'd just talk about 10 FLOSSTUBers that I pretty much always watch. And then next time I'll just talk about some of the ones I watch, you know, maybe less frequently. And a lot of the reasons why I don't watch FLOSSTUBE all the time is because there are limited hours in the day, and I just can't watch, especially when some of these people often put up videos that are longer than 40 minutes and sometimes even close to 2 hours, and I just can't watch a movie of a FLOSSTUBE every week from someone. So that's another reason why I try and keep mine down. As she talks to 28 minutes, but anyway, so I'm just going to go through the 10 that at the moment, as we're in November 2021. By the way, I'm such a tutu. I'm an active relaxer, so I always have to do something with my hands, and if you give me something, I'll fiddle with it. It's a unpicker, or what do you call them? Quick unpack, seam ripper. Unpicker is what we call them in my house. So here are the 10 FLOSSTUBers that I currently watch. I always watch Brenda in the Serial Starter, and that is a long video, but because of when they release it, usually when I get up Monday morning, or by sort of 10 o'clock Monday morning, my time, their video is up every fortnight, and I work from home most Mondays, and I've got a whole lot of really boring, but I have to go, but it's mostly noise stand-ups to go to Monday morning. So as early as I get up, and I can log on with a cup of tea, and I can have that played, and then I can just pause it when I need to have attention, and I can get through all my morning kind of stuff, and I watch Brenda and the Serial Starter, Brenda and Laura, over a couple of hours. Now, they stitch a lot of repro samplers that I don't do, but I mean, they're funny. Laura is hilarious, and I'm overwhelmed with how much stash they have, and I can't even imagine. I can't imagine having that much stash. I can't imagine buying that much stash. I can't imagine having more things than I could ever imagine to stitch in my life. But it's just like, it's a whole experience, right? But mostly they're funny. I enjoy their camaraderie. I love how they have different approaches to things. Anyway, it's just reminded me of a funny story with fabric from Dunedin. The people from Dunedin who are watching my Zoom moment will understand. Anyway, I enjoy that. So I always watch Brenda and the Serial Starter. I always watch Jen Leigh. So she's Quirks and Stitches / 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. Her videos are usually quite long, but they're very infrequent. So I probably wouldn't be able to watch her if she did a 2-hour video every week, but she doesn't. She does a 2-hour video every few months or so. And I did decide to do my 50 at 50 before she decided to do her 222 at next year. So, but, you know, and I enjoy watching their 24 Hours of Cross Stitch recap with her and her mum, Cindy, because they're just hilarious, and they remind me of me and my sister, how we kind of gently bicker, but we just laugh. We just find each other's company. We just have fun in each other's company, and that's the sort of relationship that they remind me of. And so I always watch Jen Leigh, and she just, you know, very prolific, and she amuses me because some of the things that she does organisation wise I completely get. A little bit of OCD and other things, I'm just like, what are you doing, woman? But anyway, I always watch Lisa's stitching and such, which again, she tends to have quite long videos but not very frequent, and she's a Kiwi girl, and she's the first or second, did I watch Rara first? I think one of the first or second New Zealand FLOSSTUBE that I started watching, and she just put a video out recently with a bit of a where she's at, Whip Parade / what's been going on. She hasn't put a video up for most of the year, so that was really nice to catch up with her. She's really embraced the full coverage, so she has got a butt ton of full coverages on the go, but good on her. So yeah, enjoy Lisa. I always watch Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, which is Ellen Reid in Canada, and she's just she's funny, irreverent. She stitches pretty fast, and I mean, I was a Crash Test Dummies fan back in the 90s, so it's quite funny. I enjoy the multifaceted view of people, so yeah, I always watch her. And again, she probably posts monthly-ish, maybe every 1 or 2 months, so her videos are usually about 45 minutes and never an hour. I think she got to an hour once, and they are she usually has quite a nice stash haul, and typically several projects. Mind My Needle, always watch Sam. So Sam is from the Wairarapa, local, so Kiwi cross stitcher, Kiwi floss tuber, and yeah, I enjoy Sam. Sam is much more matter of fact than me, and she's like, here are my whips, here's what I've got next. So she tends to be nice and to the point, so good on you, Sam. I'm a bit of a waffler. Modern folk embroidery I watch, so pretty much watched Jacob from day one, and he has usually quite long videos, but again, they're not too frequent. And I mean, he does amazing designs. He's informative. We're talking about samplers, and he seems like a very artistic, talented man, and I enjoy his video, and he's very gentle. Some of the floss tubers are just a bit bordering on intense. They're too intense for me, or I get overwhelmed with how intense some floss tubers are. He's nice and gentle, which is really nice. I always watch Off the Grid Needle Arts. I really enjoy Caroline, and she's just so, again, she seems like a really kind, gentle person, and I think I'd love to have a drink with her, because I think she might have quite a wicked sense of humour, but she behaves herself on screen. So and I've enjoyed seen, I mean, she's not posting as much these days because her business is really taking off. She's not kicked it up a notch, but with the introduction of the Leo and Roxy yarn co floss and her increasing collabs with Modern Folk Embroidery, that's bringing extra dimensions to it. But yeah, I really enjoy her videos as well, so I always catch those. I always watch Rara's Stitching Realm, nice and short, not as frequent as she intended. She's going through a bit of a stitchy bug issue this year, and probably puts too much pressure on herself, don't you, Rach? But she's Rachel's in Christchurch or Rangiora down in the South Island, so she might be the first New Zealand floss tuber that I started watching, and she is the one that encouraged me to start my floss tube. I was messaging her about, I think something about like her mum, because her mum, she looks after her mother who has dementia, and but is still at home, and so I had some real empathy for her for what, like, that's a hard job, because I've looked after my stepmother for a week or two and it's exhausting, so I really have empathy for her. And anyway, she encouraged me to do my floss tube video. So, and it's easy to watch Rachel because her videos are really short, so that's not a massive commitment. And she just makes me laugh. She's just fun, I think. And I always watch Stitch and Mommy, which is really bizarre because we don't stitch anything the same, and I don't know, there's just something about her. She just is a pleasant lady, I think, and so she does a lot of full coverage. So I've bought a couple of her designs, partly just to support her, but I enjoy the collaboration she's doing with her niece, I think it is, to design some charts. So I bought a couple of her Herschel and, I can't remember, the Ladybug and the bird collaboration, but I just think they're really cute. I might stitch them one day, I don't know. Sarah, Stitch and Mommy, she posts pretty much every week. She probably only misses the occasional week, and she usually has quite a strict sort of roster for herself, rotation, and usually works on 3 or 4 pieces a week, so there's quite a lot to see. You're not going to get lots of finishes from her though, because of course she's doing lots of full coverage. And I always watch the Sunshine Stitches. They crack me up, and I often will go to bed on a Sunday and I'll watch them. Now I do admit with some of these long videos I do fast forward bits, so once someone's held up something I don't necessarily need to know all the colours and the fabric and stuff, so I'll fast forward just, you know, a couple of taps. So their videos have got a bit long for me to be able to watch without falling asleep, because I watch them Sunday night in bed. But I enjoy their friendship, and Gary's a bit of a brother from another mother. You know, he's a fast stitcher, although he does seem to stay up till the wee hours of the morning. I don't do that. I don't know how he could stitch and be tired, but yeah, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, that was 10. So those are the 10 that I pretty much watch all the time. And then there are, you know, another 20, 30 odd floss tubers that I watch some of the time, depending on how long it is, whether I have time or not. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap this up now. I probably can't edit that much out of it because I haven't waffled on too much. Well done, Leigh. Thanks for coming along and watching my floss tube. I hope you continue to find joy in your stitching, and until next week, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.